The LeMaitre legacy, a line of healers forged in two worlds. The name LeMaitre, the master, arrived in New France with the ambitions of its Norman bearers, who understood that mastery meant more than title or birth. It meant the patient cultivation of skill in service of others. Along the St. Lawrence River, in the parishes of Trois-Rivières and Nicolet, these settlers established themselves not as lords but as craftsmen of community, bound to soil and sanctuary, yet alive to the larger currents of a contested continent. Their world was one of careful alliances. The French colonial project depended upon the Abenaki people of Odanak, whose friendship meant survival itself. In this borderland of cultures, identities would be forged that transcended simple categories of race or nation. From this frontier emerged one of North America's most remarkable families. Samuel Gill, captured from Massachusetts in 1697 as a 9-year-old boy, was adopted into Abenaki society, and in 1715 married Rosalie James, a fellow English captive who had found her home among the people of Odanak. Their son, Joseph Louis Gill, 1719-1798, known to his people as Magoua, would become one of the most influential leaders in Abenaki history. For nearly 50 years, Joseph Louis guided his nation through the crucible of colonial warfare, epidemic disease, and territorial dispossession. His marriage to Mary Ann, daughter of an Abenaki chief, created a bloodline that embodied the complexity of 18th century North America itself. English by origin, Catholic by faith, Abenaki by adoption, and French by alliance. Their children inherited not fragmentation but synthesis, a new kind of identity forged in the fires of survival. By the 1850s, the old frontier had given way to settled parishes, but the Gill lineage had not merely endured, it had evolved. The 1855 genealogical record of Dr. Joseph LeMaitre's marriage to Elizabeth Jessie Gill, granddaughter of the great chief Joseph Louis, marks a pivotal moment in North American family history. Here, two traditions of leadership converged: the sovereignty of the Abenaki nation and the emerging professional authority of French Canadian medicine. Dr. Joseph LeMaitre brought to this union the scientific rationalism of his medical training. Elizabeth Jessie carried within her bloodline the diplomatic wisdom and cultural resilience that had enabled her grandfather to lead his people through decades of upheaval. Their 7 children would inherit both legacies, the healer's calling and the leader's responsibility. The Great Migration of French Canadians to New England's industrial cities created new challenges for leadership and care. By the 1890s, Dr. Joseph E. LeMaitre had established his practice in Manchester, New Hampshire, serving the Franco-American community of Petit Canada. His presence among the mill workers and their families represented more than medical service. It was cultural stewardship, a continuation of the chiefly tradition adapted to the needs of a transplanted people. In an era when most French Canadian immigrants entered the mills as laborers, the LeMaitre distinguished themselves as healers and guides. They carried forward an ancient understanding. True mastery lay not in dominion over others, but in service to one's community. The 1927 Université de Montréal Faculty of Medicine class composite photograph captures a moment of historical significance. George L. LeMaitre, great-grandson of Elizabeth Jessie Gill, taking his place among the institution's graduating physicians. The formal portrait reveals more than personal achievement. It documents the transformation of Indigenous leadership into modern professional authority. Returning to Manchester to establish his practice, George LeMaitre embodied the family's gift for bridging worlds: Quebec's academic halls and New England's immigrant neighborhoods, ancient wisdom and contemporary science, the healer's intuition, and the physician's training. In Dr. George D. LeMaitre, 1933-2018, The family's healing tradition achieved its most expansive expression. A distinguished vascular surgeon and chief of surgery at Lawrence General Hospital, he possessed not only exceptional clinical skills, but also the visionary capacity to see beyond the operating room's immediate demands. His founding of LeMaitre Vascular in 1983 represented a revolutionary synthesis. The surgeon's intimate knowledge of human anatomy translated into medical devices that would serve physicians worldwide. Under his leadership, the family's tradition of healing transcended geographic and cultural boundaries, becoming a global force for medical advancement. George's marriage to Connie Weldon created a partnership that would nurture 5 remarkable children, each destined to carry the family legacy into new domains of excellence. The children of George de César and Connie Weldon LeMaitre demonstrate how a family tradition can evolve while maintaining its essential character. Each sibling has mastered a different art, yet all serve the fundamental LeMaitre calling: to heal, to lead, and to create. Ellen LeMaitre channels the family's storytelling heritage through literature and music. Her work, including the acclaimed As It Was, 1978, and her musical performances with Boston Airs, represent the artistic dimension of the LeMaitre legacy, the understanding that healing encompasses not just the body, but the human spirit. George Weldon LeMaitre, armed with degrees from Stanford University, has proven himself the consummate steward of his father's vision. As CEO since 1992 and chairman since 2004 of LeMaitre Vascular, he has guided the company through decades of growth and innovation. His leadership exemplifies a new form of the family's traditional mastery, not the surgeon's scalpel, but the strategist's vision, ensuring that his father's healing innovations reach ever more patients around the globe. Jim LeMaitre, has mastered the modern art of narrative persuasion as a creative director in advertising. His portfolio includes major campaigns for Nike, General Motors, and FedEx, culminating in his work on the celebrated FedEx Stick commercial, which earned the 2006 Primetime Emmy for Outstanding Commercial. In his hands, the family gift for communication serves not healing directly, but the creation of cultural moments that unite and inspire. Dr. Kathleen M. LeMaitre continues the family's medical tradition through her distinguished career as an OB/GYN in Boston. Her dedication to women's health represents the family's enduring commitment to the most vulnerable members of society, a calling that traces directly back to her ancestors' role as healers and protectors. Dr. Matthew T. LeMaitre, practicing as a general and bariatric surgeon in Boston and Fall River, maintains his affiliation with St. Anne's Hospital, itself a monument to French Canadian Catholic values. His work embodies the family's integration of clinical excellence with cultural continuity, serving patients while honoring the community that shaped his ancestors. The LeMaitre Chronicle transcends conventional genealogy to become something rarer, the biography of an idea made flesh across centuries. From Norman craftsmen to Abenaki chiefs, from frontier physicians to global innovators, this family has never accepted the limitations of a single identity or calling. Their story illuminates a profound truth about American experience, that our greatest achievements emerge not from purity of heritage, but from the creative synthesis of diverse traditions. LeMaitre, the master, has meant many things across the generations: leader of a people, healer of bodies, inventor of solutions, teller of stories, steward of enterprises. Yet beneath these varied expressions lies a constant: the understanding that true mastery is always mastery in service of others. In our age of fragmentation and specialization, the LeMaitre legacy offers a different model: the integrated life, the whole person, the family that has learned not merely to adapt to change, but to embody the very principle of creative transformation. They remain what their name has always declared them to be: masters, not of dominion, but of the most essential human art, the art of becoming.